university is something that has a variety of missions within this state. I always talk about three primary responsibilities. The first is education, and education is, yes, about workforce development, but it's also about career development for people who are going to be citizens and for the long time around the state. Secondly, it's research and innovation, and that is highly important. And thirdly, it is outreach. And I came to this campus a year and a half ago. I've never been to a public university that takes the idea of outreach to the state as seriously as my campus in Madison. We are so serious about it, we actually have our own name for it. It's called the Wisconsin Idea. I love that, and it's a wonderful level of commitment to the university. And people embed the idea of that three-point mission. If you're at the university and even outside the university, I think people understand that. So, there was clearly a reaction to a proposal that was going to narrow that mission.
The governor talked today about expecting some reduction in the $300 million cut he's proposed. And I'm just wondering what your goal would be.
So, I understand it is a tough budget year here in this state. I think this is going to be the process of, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, right? We've got months of conversations going on with the leadership in the Assembly and the Senate, with the Joint Finance Committee, and I'm delighted to hear that people are open to the possibility of figuring out some ways to reduce those cuts at least somewhat, and I think we're just going to have to talk about what the possibilities are. They've got a set of hard choices given the situation of the state deficit, and I appreciate that, and we'll all work together with them. Yeah.
You spoke about this being an opportunity, this time being an opportunity for the university. Is this the time to be cutting the knowledge economy and research? You talk about where the state is right now and the university's role.
So, I think the evidence on what drives economic development in the United States in particular is very clear. Our comparative advantage is highly educated workers and staying on the cutting edge of innovation, of new products and new processes. That is where we have most effectively competed as an economy, and where the sectors of our of industries are most effective in the United States. It is not by chance that virtually every one of the most rapidly growing regions in this country has embedded in the middle of it one or more major research universities, because the interaction between innovation and industry and the basic research and innovation that goes on inside universities is more tightly linked now than it's ever been before.
The individual you mentioned, the top researcher, contacted you and said, I've been following the news, I'm not coming to the university. Did you try to talk him or her out of it? I mean, did you try to offer more money? Or?
So I don't actually do those sorts of negotiations. The deans do, and this was an extended conversation. I think this was not about the offer to that individual personally. That was a very generous offer. I think they were impressed with the concern was where this person is coming to run a major medical research center, and the question is, do we have the funding to support that center and the sort of people and innovation and research that they want to do in the long run? And it was less about their personal salary offer than it was about, can we support the quality of medical research? And I will say, since I've stopped speaking, I've had another dean email me, this time from the School of Nursing, about a major senior offer they had out that they thought had already accepted, who called them this afternoon and said, I've been following the news in Wisconsin, and I'm afraid that Wisconsin is not going to be able to support, the things that I want to do, and I'm going to withdraw my, I'm not going to accept your offer. So now we have two casualties. I mean, I'm very worried about this.
A $5 million line in your budget to basically fend off raiders. I'm wondering what that number is now. Fend off.
Well, so we have been spending approximately $4 or $5 million a year to try to keep our most competitive faculty salaries, up to snuff, up to where they should be. That's both meeting outside offers as well as identifying people at risk of outside offers and making sure that their salaries are at least somewhat competitive.
So that would be level funding for that effort.
Yes, that's right.
Understanding that, though, going forward, are you comfortable working with the budget office if perhaps they're not getting the message to the governor's office about your concerns?
the issue of communication is always one. Miscommunication happens in all organizations. Clearly this is one where we just have to talk to all the players, and I think there's a really open line of communication with the legislature, and that's where a lot of the debate is going to move in the next month. So,
is that where your attention is moving now? Is the legislature?
I think clearly it's we're going to move into the Joint Finance Committee, and that's where a lot of the discussion will take place.
Chancellor.
How soon will you have to make decisions, though, about the next academic year for talking about staffing, courses? You can't wait until June or the 1st of July.
Well, I think we're clearly going to be facing some substantial budget cuts in any case. And as the presentation I tried to make said, even if we do a number of things that we're going to absolutely have to do, we've still got some unfunded cuts that we have to deal with. So while I would love to reduce that, I don't think this is going to change our short-term activities of really focusing on where can we cut across campus and where do we have some opportunities for new revenues.
Will that be sooner rather than later? I mean, could there be layoffs within weeks, or how are you going to? What's the strategy for that?
So we are still in the very beginning process of working with all our schools and colleges, as well as our non-educational units, as to how we're going to implement this and what we can do in what phased order. And it's just too soon to say much about that right now.